said. We'll let Coach start off with a statement, then we'll take questions.
Yeah, I got to start off with two things. Number one, I can't tell you how much respect I have for Coach Kelly and the job their coaching staff did and their players. Those were tough circumstances tonight. They did a hell of a job. Played really well, were coached really well. So hats off to them. And second, I can't tell you how much I love coaching here. Even with the stands empty after a thunderstorm, it's just fun here. So I appreciate the people that stayed. Game didn't quite look like I anticipated it would go, but I was really happy with the fight and perseverance of our guys. So, questions?
Coach, a lot to unpack here, but just first of all, the Jaden Williams, that 4th and 1 stop, they have the ball, the game's tied, they have the ability to go down and kick a field goal or potentially score. They line up quickly, try to catch you off guard, but Jaden Williams sniffs it out. How big was that play enabling you to come back and win?
Yeah, Jaden got game ball. He's one of, seems like 100 new guys around here, but he's played a lot of football. And he's very savvy. And when they handed it off, it looked like they dented our line a little bit, and I thought it was a first down. I was getting ready to figure out where to use my timeouts, and he just shot in there and knifed him. And that was probably the biggest play of the game.
Scott, can you talk a little bit about what happened to Cam, in between at the halftime or the delay, I guess, the weather delay, and also Taven? What does it say a lot about him coming in and being able to step up and make those plays at the end?
Yeah, first Cam, got a targeting penalty. That was a big play. It looked like it was going to be a game-changing play for them, and the guy got too high on the hit. His head was fine, wasn't concussion or anything. He had a kind of an issue with his back and got some shooting pain down his leg, and he tried to keep it going through the long break, but didn't feel like he could go, and the trainers didn't feel like he could go, so it was plan B pretty quick.
Coach, first points came in the second half of the game. Taven Jackson comes in unexpectedly. A lot of scenarios, a lot of circumstances in this game. What did you see about their fight through adversity?
Fight through adversity was one of the big questions about this team. We got a lot of other questions that we need to address that probably still haven't been answered. But I was wondering how this team would respond when things got hard and whether or not they'd fight or not. And the defense just kept fighting. They gave up one long touchdown drive and otherwise came up with stops when they needed them. And the offense kept plugging despite shooting ourselves in the foot a lot, and really good play from them. Kept plugging and found a way to make a couple big plays.
Coach Miles, more than 150 yards all purpose. Just how much does this offense need him to do what he does?
Well, we need to, first of all, I love Miles. He is the captain of this team. Not officially yet. We had 4 captains tonight, but he's the leader. You got a good kid when, I'm looking at my play sheet frustrated, and he comes over and encourages me, and that says a lot about Miles. But going forward, we got to rotate those guys a little more, and Stacey Gage is a good player, and Jay Nixon's a good player, and AG is a good player. This game was just tight the whole time, and he's a warrior, and he stayed in and handled the bulk of it. But I'm really glad Miles is with us.
Coach, talk about the defense a little bit, with the way they held Jacksonville State to 3 and 15 on 3rd down. A lot of that had to do with the defensive line. How do you feel about their tenacity, keeping them off the board, specifically Horace Lockett as well, getting back there a lot himself?
Yeah, no, we thought the D-line was going to be one of our strengths. It looked like it tonight. It's game 1. We have a lot of improving to do, but there's certainly some bright spots, and the D-line was one of them. I thought they kept the pressure on Rimsat all night. Thought they did a good job in the run game for the most part. We got a lot of guys who can play, and we rotated them through, and those guys made a big difference in the game. But it wasn't just them. I thought the corners played really well, and obviously the safeties came up and played well. It's going to get harder when we play Big 12 opponents, but luckily we got about a month until that happens.
What was kind of the debate or conversations you might have had with your assistants as far as that last offensive drive to whether to burn clock or on 3rd down you guys take the deep shot that on the touchdown? Was going to be the juggling of trying to make sure they don't get the ball, but also to go out to finish the drive and score?
Yeah, I'm going to compliment them again. We couldn't scheme much in this game, so we had to be kind of vanilla not necessarily with our schemes, but we couldn't go in and say they do this, we need to do this. We just didn't know. And then within the game, they were coming from everywhere and lining up in odd and even and different coverages, and so it's hard to even with the video we can watch now, it's hard to even say, hey, let's get in this formation and run this, because they did a great job mixing it up. And with no real film to prepare for, that was tough, and I give credit to them. That last drive, we hit a couple plays, and Tay made a couple big plays, and particularly the third down run. We kind of rolled the dice with that call that was only good against a certain defense, and we happened to get it. He did a good job making the play with his legs. We called another one like that on third down, and they made us give it because of pressure, and we got a yard, and second down wasn't that productive, and yes, we just kind of sat there and said, let's win this thing. I think a lot of people probably expected us to call something and kick a field goal, but we still had a few bullets in the chamber to place to call, and we hit one.
Late in the game, especially when Taven came in, he was using a lot of safety valves like Dylan Wade. Was that brought in to kind of ease Jackson into the game, or was there something else going into that?
No, that was really a function of their defense. They were coming after us, and when they did a good job, filling with safeties that were playing deep in the run game, but then when they saw pass, they were playing really deep on us, until that last bit where they're up trying to stuff the run, and that gave us a chance. But they were just dropping so deep, they were kind of taking away our things downfield and leaving the check downs there. We got to be more efficient taking those. We missed a couple and stepped out of bounds on a couple. If that's what they're going to give you all game, you got to take them all game. But that didn't have anything to do with the quarterback, just had to do with their defense.
Coach Frost, we saw a significant difference in the offense between the first half and second half of the game. We'd like to know, are you still sticking to your UC fast strategy, or are you trying something else?
We'll do that when it counts, at times, when it's appropriate. And we'll see game to game how fast it's going to be. They're a team that does it themselves, and our plan going into the game was to earn a couple first downs and then go fast. The first drive was going pretty well, and we shot ourselves in the foot. And the second drive, probably threw a ball in a bubble when it shouldn't have been thrown, and missed a block. And it was just a lot of little things like that. Offensively, you either have to create more explosive plays, or you have to be really consistent. Because if you're going to have 13 play drives, sooner or later something bad could happen if you don't execute really well. So we need to be better at both, creating explosives and being consistent. And when we get really good at that, we'll maybe try to do it faster.
Coach, I'm imagining a game like this, you didn't have a chance to soak anything in.
Yeah, except the rain. We got a really young team, and that's not an excuse. I wanted it to go better, particularly offensively. It's hard to say you wanted to go better on special teams or defense with the performance they had. Offense, we got a lot of young, inexperienced guys, and I thought that showed up a little bit tonight. Took us out of a couple scoring chances, and had some plays that didn't hit. You're just kind of in the wrong place or did something a little bit wrong. But it's just so fun being in this stadium. And so even though it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go, and the night was weird with all the breaks, and we spent a lot of time in the locker room together, we're going to keep getting better. And we got a young team I think has a chance to improve, maybe at a steeper climb than some other people that have a lot more experience. And I'm going to love every bit of it, because it's just awesome being the coach here.
Defense ends up in that penalty situation with less than 2 minutes to go, and then they bounce back and force the turnover on downs. When discipline escapes them in those moments, what can be said about their resiliency to bounce back and make the right play? Yeah,
resiliency was great. The penalties were the problem. We didn't have a lot of penalties. They were just wrong time, and you know, it's little things. You can't push off somebody when you're getting up. You got to keep your head and not get offsetting penalties and get one for the team. You know, holding play on a touchdown, a targeting. I'm sure that wasn't intentional, but it just kept seeming like it was happening at the wrong time for us to catch any momentum. Those things got to get cleaned up. You know, those are first game mistakes and undisciplined mistakes and or selfish in some cases. So those things will definitely be addressed. But you know, the perseverance part and continuing to fight, thought that was outstanding.
Coach, piggybacking off that, I mean, like, how much better can this team get from week 1 to week 2? And what are the things, you know, that you'll really address as we come up?
Well, I think we can improve a lot, but I think we need to. Again, you know, particularly on the perimeter, yeah, we got kind of stuck handing the ball between the tackles a lot because of some mistakes early on the perimeter. Part of it was their defense, again, giving them credit, but you know, when they have too many in the box, the ball's got to go outside, and we got to be efficient with that, blocking the perimeter or running our routes on the outside, so when the game dictates it, we can cash in. And we didn't do a good enough job of that, so we got to go back to work on those things and make sure we're efficient on those types of things.
Coach, what can you tell us about Cam Bender's status after this, and what does this say about Tatum going forward, considering moving?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that right now. I love both kids. You know, Cam's a warrior. I really don't know yet. I was told he was out for the second half, or I don't remember which break it was after. I guess the first one, but I'll talk to the trainers either later tonight or in the morning and have something more going forward.
Time for a few more.
Coach, there was a number of offsides calls throughout the game. Is this a case of the defense is being a little overly jazzed because it's the first game, and how can things be shored up for next week?
Yeah, you reminded me of more. I mean, offsides at the wrong time and giving them first downs and false start on the 1 yard line. You know, that one was interesting because I'm not sure what was said to get our kid to jump off sides, but that, you know, we got to be more disciplined than that. And you know, you go back and watch the tape, and we didn't capitalize on a lot of opportunities. We didn't make the play when we needed to, or we made a mistake when we couldn't. And again, I thought they did a great job on the other side of staying in the game, and we got a lot to clean up.
I know you have a lot of special memories from this place, but was there any particular moment before the game, during the game, that just kind of came to mind of how happy you are to be back at UCF?
You know what the coolest one was, as I was sitting back in this, what they call my office back here, and my son and oldest daughter came in to see me at the game. That didn't happen last time I was here. So it's great. I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to do this, particularly with my kids old enough to understand what's going on right now. And when I wake them up in the morning, we'll be able to tell them we won.
Last one.
Well, what did you guys do during the 2-hour ring delay? What happens during that break?
We just kind of, I came in right away and told them I thought it would be longer than what they were saying. So we had them take their pads off and cleats off and kind of hang out. We debated going back into our facility, but we stayed in here. Andrew Sims, our DFO, was smart enough to order some sandwiches. So I think Horace ate 15 of them and then made them work. But not much you can do. You know, just try to stay loose and get ready to go back out, touch your toes, and attack.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys.